Recently, Amazon Web Services have slightly changed the way that instructors and students can set up and access the EMR cluster through their AWS Academy services. In this short video clip, I will demonstrate those changes and how to set up the cluster with the new changes. Changes are not very significant. As such, they should not alter the instructions and tutorials that are provided in the textbook and in the Data Made Easy video. So let's open our favorite browser and go to AWS Academy portal. Click AWS Academy portal and with username and password that you have acquired previously, log in. On the upper right corner, you should see an LMS. That's where the Learning Management System takes you to the canvas. I have several courses already created. If you want to create your own course, you go to Profile, Create a Class. Here, choose Academy Learner Lab. Then select other characteristics for the course, such as start date, end date, and so on. I'm going to go back to my dashboard where I already have created the course, Academy Learner Lab. Go to the student view in the upper right corner, and under the modules, look for Launch AWS Academy Learner Lab. Click there, and let's start the lab. Next to AWS, you will initially see a red dot, then a yellow one. When the dot becomes green, click on the AWS. In the AWS computing environment, let's first create an authentication key. Click EC2. On the left pane, we scroll down and find key pairs. Click key pairs and create a key pair. This part is very similar to what already is provided in the instructional tutorials. So come up with a name for the key. Let's call it cluster key. This is a Mac, so choose PEM and then create a key pair. The key will be saved in my downloads folder. Now let's go back to the EMR. AWS has updated the console, but you can always switch to the old console. Just click Switch to the old console. Here, create cluster. You can come up with a name for the cluster. Choose the package. Or you can go to Advanced Options, select a release, select a software, for example, Hadoop, Hive. I'm going to select HBase, Spark. These are some of the software products that we use throughout the textbook. And the rest of the selections is mostly the default values. So I'm just going to click Next. And next, here we choose the cluster key as the EC2 key pair for the authentication and hit Create Cluster. It will take a few minutes for the cluster to be created, 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes. Meanwhile, make sure to go to allow security access, allow SSH access. On a security group for master, click on the name and then on the master node, go ahead and edit inbound rules. Make sure that SSH is selected. I already have selected it because I have been using this environment previously. But if you don't have SSH here under rules, you need to add a rule and choose SSH. And here you need to choose the 000-0. And you normally hit Save Rule. I'm not going to save it because, as I said, I already have an SSH access allowed for this cluster. So I'm going to cancel this one just to make sure that SSH is here. Yes, here is the SSH. Now let me go back to the cluster, and hopefully the cluster is up and running. Again, let's switch back to the old console. The cluster is still in a starting state, so I am going to pause for a while and restart the video once the cluster is in the waiting state. Here we are. Click My Cluster and find Connect to the master. I am using a Mac, so I'm going to copy the handle here. And if you're using Windows, the instructions are similar as already provided. I'm opening my terminal. Windows, you use PuTTY. First, let's change the properties of my authentication key. So I'm going to change mode 400 here. So ch mod space 400. And the cluster is in the downloads folder. And then hit enter. Now I can provide the connection handler here. And again, I have to make sure that I can access the cluster. So I provide the right path /downloads/cluster. Yes. And here is the EMR environment up and running. Let's test Hadoop FS LS. So the Hadoop file system is reached. Let's create a directory. Hadoop FS. My data has to be minus make directory my data. Yes. So the cluster is ready for your use. Thank you.